Good morning and welcome to Real Talk with Tamara. I hope that you guys are doing okay this morning. As you come into the room, please hit the like button. Also, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. Also, if you would like to support the channel, you can definitely do it via Cash App, or there's a heart at the bottom of the video that you can click and you can support the channel. I hope that you guys are doing okay. It's definitely you could tell that it's fall. Like, I don't like the fall or the winter. That's just not my season. It has me all laxed, okay? Um, and not really wanting to do a whole lot, right? Especially when the weather starts to change and it gets cold and stuff. That's just it has never been my season. Spring is really my favorite. Spring is my favorite. But I'll take spring and summer, but spring is my favorite, okay? But anyways, you guys, and that's because if I could live in 77 or 78-degree weather all year round, I'll take that. But I think you have to be a Floridian or something for that, right? Because it's sometimes I have a friend that lives in Florida. She'll call me and we'll be talking and she'll go, it's like Christmas, it's 88 degrees. I wouldn't want that. But like, give me like 75 to 77-degree weather. That's perfect for me. I love that. Okay. But anyways, you guys, I wanted to talk about, this is a subject that I love. I've always watched the Whitney Houston's case. Um, I always felt like there was some foul play, of course, in her case, and I've always felt like that it was the people right around her, like the way things was handled. um when her case first happened, I couldn't get past Whitney Houston was upstairs at the Beverly Hills Hotel, and Clyde Davis and all of them claimed that they loved her, and they had went ahead with an award show or something. They partied the night away while her body was upstairs in a hotel. Oh my God. Like, that shook me. Like, I still cannot believe it. You had some people like Shaka Khan who spoke up and said, why is this going? Why are we carrying on? She left, but I mean, I was just appalled. I was completely appalled that they could party at a hotel downstairs while Whitney Houston, a iconic figure in R&B, dead body laid upstairs. I was never able to get past that, and they claimed that they loved her. Okay. So just the way that things was handled, and then I paid extremely close attention to, I never trusted Whitney Houston's sister-in-law, Pat. Right after Whitney died, Pat, you could tell that Bobby Christina was having a really, really hard time. And me, I'm one of the ones, I truly believe that Bobby Brown loved Whitney. They had a toxic relationship, but they loved each other. Some people can love each other, they just toxic as hell, okay? And but Pat, you know, always seemed very cold and evil. And I watched how she handled things when Whitney had died with Bobby Christina. And you could tell that Bobby Christina was not ready to be on that show. She wasn't. Bobby Christina was sedated the whole time. She was shaking. She was up under the influence of something, some type of medication. I think it was medication and drugs or something, and Pat knew it. And to put that child on TV so early on, oh my God, you know. But I wanted to, and let me just say this. The reason, I know a lot of people say Leola goes on a rant, let me just tell you something. When this first happened, when Whitney Houston died, and Leola was making her rounds, Leola was on Facebook, and she's still on Facebook. She ended up, at first it was just Leola Brown. Now she's got a married last name. And I had reached out to Leola to come on my TV show, right? And of course, during that time, you would see her on social media, you would see her on different little shows that had big budgets, right? So we ended up talking, and she was like, well, she called me Tamala. She's got that Boston accent. Tamala, I'll do it for you. You seem like a sweet person. The budget was still, I had just started. She didn't understand my show was local. I ain't had that type of budget. You know what I mean? But I don't mind, I can't. She had a story to tell. And with the type of jewels that Leola has, I definitely think that it should be put in a book. I'm happy that she has continuously got her foot on Pat's neck, because I do believe that she did something. Okay. If nothing else, she encouraged it because she knew it would happen. And so, anyways, I remember when I we had actually talked via phone. I was like, well, Leola ain't got that type of budget for my TV show. But she ended up talking to me on the phone. She didn't just give me everything, but she ended up talking to me on the phone, and she was, told me a few things. And let's see, my phone always goes off. And she had talked about a friend that Bobby Christina had, and um she did not get into it deep, but she was like, Bobby Christina had a friend that knew exactly what happened and was there, I believe she said, and she said they killed that girl. And she never told me who they was. We talked about quite a bit of stuff. I can't remember everything verbatim, but she didn't give me everything. But I did want her to come on my show. Of course, I didn't have the budget, and I'm happy. And she kind of went away for a while, but I'm happy that she's going to put it in a book, because I can't afford a book. I will support her book because I definitely believe what she is saying. I definitely believe what she's saying. Um, she Everything that she was saying from the very beginning, it has not changed. It hasn't changed. And Bobby has been kind of quiet, but I do believe that Bobby does not have a problem. I'm talking about Bobby Brown, with what his sister Leola is putting into the atmosphere, because even though Bobby and Whitney were kind of toxic, they loved each other. And you know although Bobby is not innocent, you have to understand Whitney was a way bigger star. And in some kind of way, because he was an alcoholic, he smoked weed, or he was a drinker, but he started getting into heavier stuff when she was a superstar. He was not a superstar. You know, New Edition was popular. He was popular, but he was not a superstar. He married a superstar, and he got pulled into that world also, which means where there was already demons, there was bigger demons once he got pulled into that. Okay. And I think a lot of people was kind of fixated on him because she was America's sweetheart and all of that. That's the image until they did that Bobby Brown show. I like that Whitney and Bobby show. Okay, that shows how toxic they both was. Okay, and they truly loved each other, though. um I just, Pat always stood out to me. So I definitely believe Leola. I believe everything that she said. And I believe that, I believe everything she said. So, but let me just play a little bit, because I found a little bit of what um here it is, right here. Hold on.
The funeral, they had a closed casket on Whitney. Definitely, most definitely murdered. Bruises all up and down her legs, her fingernails were chipped, her lip was busted, her face was swollen like somebody was punching her in the face. Her cousin called me. I went to the body viewing. I flew into New York, went to my hotel, and just as I'm getting ready to go to her body viewing, her Whitney's cousin called me screaming and crying. She said, Lily, who did this to her? I said, what's going on? She said, I just seen them beat her faces. Her face is all big and popped popped up and busted up like somebody punched her in the face. Yes, they had Whitney laying in the casket like that. But you could see her then at the body viewing. But the funeral, they had a closed casket on Whitney because she was so messed up. Okay? So Whitney Houston, no, she was murdered. Her room looked like a tornado hit it. Definitely, most definitely murdered.
Okay.
Because
Here's something right here.
Leola. Mm-hmm. And it's going up. People are here. People are coming, I guess. Okay. Help me. So hang on. Okay? We're going to get this right today. You got to hear me. My son is telling me to help me. So hang on. Okay?
We find out where it's at.
But I didn't.
Hold on, I was trying to see if that was a video of her. Actually, here it is right here.
About the death of Whitney Houston, Bobby Christina, and Bobby Brown Jr. I am going to set the record straight today. I know that it's many people in the world that think and believe that Whitney or Bobby Christina or little Bobby died of a drug overdose. That is not true. I'm going to set the record straight tonight, today. Right now it is about 9:01 p.m. Eastern Time. Okay, and today's date is September the 22nd. Now, I'm going to set the record straight, and I don't want to hear nobody no more. Media, this is to you too. I'm going to let you all know how they was all found. Okay, let's start with my niece. We're going to start there. And the reason I'm starting with her, because after I did my investigations, I believe that Bobby Christina was the aim first. Bobby Christina was the aim, and they wanted to kill Whitney afterwards while she was at that Beverly Hilton. They wanted to say that they found Bobby Christina in the bathtub, and then Whitney Houston committed suicide, but that is not true. That is not true. None of that happened. None of that happened. Bobby Christina came out of the bathtub at the Beverly Hilton. Okay, but she was the first one found at the Beverly Hilton. Yes, you all didn't know that, but I have a lot of stuff coming out in the book. But I'm going to briefly tell you. I'm going to set the record straight and let you know that Whitney fought for her life. Bobby Christina fought for her life. Bobby Jr., I don't know. I don't know if he fought too hard, because I think he was just tricked. Somebody spiked his drink or food or something, because little Bobby Jr. was clean. Okay? Seriously. Okay, now let's start with, matter of fact, no, let's start with Whitney. We're going to start with Whitney Houston. Whitney Houston's body told anybody upon looking at it that it was foul play. Okay, don't get it twisted. No. Whitney Houston, I counted at least 10 gashes in her chest alone. She had marks up and down her legs. Her fingernails were chipped. Her face was busted out. It was blown up. Yes, as if somebody was punching her in the face. Whitney Houston fought for her life. Yes, she did. Excuse me, let me have a drink of water. Whitney fought for her life. Whitney had skin taken off her back. There was so many things wrong with Whitney's body. I mean, it told anybody. And like I said, her security, Ray, told me that that room, Whitney's room, looked like a tornado hit it. So it was a fight. It was a struggle. Okay? Yes, it was. Pat knew this, Gary knew this, but they also did something else when before the authorities got there to the hospital with Whitney. Pat and Gary staged the scene. Yes, I have an eyewitness that was there that watched them go in and out of the room after Whitney's body laid there, and they were taking things out from one room to the next. Pat and Gary did this. So Whitney's body definitely denoted that there was foul play. Okay, all of her bruises told us what happened in that room. Whitney fought for her life. There was no drugs in her system. The coroner report states that there was no drugs in Whitney Houston's system. Okay, so let's stop saying that she died of an overdose. I'm sick of seeing that in the media. That's not the case with Whitney. No, she didn't have any drugs in her system. Bobby Christina was beaten in her living room. Go and look at the police report. Bobby Christina was beaten in her living room by Nick Gordon. He beat her down with Danielle in her condo, Max Lomas, and Danielle. What's Danielle's last name? I got it coming out in the book, but that's okay. Danielle, who was somebody that Chrissy was not even friends with anymore. Okay, so what was she doing in my niece's house? Yeah, we're talking about all this in the book. Nick beat Chrissy down into like a fetal position. She was screaming and crying, asking him why was he doing this to her, because she didn't know. But it was a setup. It was a setup. Yes. Nick was told not to let her go out of that house and to do whatever it was he got paid to do that for. Okay? Yeah, that's the deal. Nick Gordon was not somebody that grew up with Bobby Christina either. No, he was not. He did not grow up with her. Nobody never met him. Bobby, my brother, never met Nick. Okay, Nick was brought into the picture after Bobby and Whitney's divorce. Okay, so basically right before Whitney was murdered, Nick was brought into the picture. Okay, and if you ask me who would bring him in, I would tell you Pat Houston. Yes, she set everything up. Okay, we're gonna talk today. We're gonna talk. I'm gonna talk to you because it's obvious that Pat brought him in. And when Nick did that to Bobby Christina and she was rushed to the hospital, because after he beat her and drug her up them steps, he shot her up with something and threw her in the bathtub and knocked her teeth out of her mouth. Yes, my sister Tina's here with me right now, reminding me of things. Okay, so yes, Nick did all that. Also, I was getting ready to say something. After Nick did all that to Bobby Christina, he was on, I wanted to get his story. So my nephew, Gerard Brown, called him and he was on a tape. He said, when Gerard, and I had 10 people in my living room, some of Whitney's family was there and the Browns were there and some of my friends. So there are plenty witnesses. They all heard Nick on the tape. Gerard is on the phone with him. And he asked, what happened? Tell me what happened. How did Chrissy end up in the bathtub? And he just went to talking all hysterical and he was scared. He said, I'm not going down for this. I'm not going down for this. He said, I'm not going down for this one. He said, I saved Pat with Whitney. I'm not going down for Chrissy because I already saved Pat with Whitney. So what did he save you for, Pat? How did he save you? Huh? Is that why he's not living right now? I don't know. Talk to me. because Nick is no longer here to tell the story. Okay?
Told it wrong anyway.
So we're gonna keep this real. We're gonna keep this real. All right? And I'm gonna say this. I hope that you all don't think that I'm talking with anger right now. I'm just being passionate about this because I am so tired of seeing the media talk about Whitney Houston. They're writing up things. They keep saying that she was murdered. She murdered death by overdose. No, Whitney Houston didn't have any drugs in her system. Okay, so and neither did Bobby. Bobby Christina was beaten into that bathtub, and then when she entered the hospital, she snapped out of the coma quickly. She was not in a coma for a long time. No, Bobby Christina, every single time I walked in her room, me and my sister Tina together, Bobby Christina was up. Her eyes were wide open, wide open. And I asked the nurse or doctor, I said, she never sleeps. She was always aware and up. She wanted to know who was in her room, and she looked you dead in your face. And when I walked in the room to see her, she said, "Oh, oh, 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 oh." She was so excited to see me. She kept trying to talk to me. The doctors saw this. They were like, "Oh my God, she's so excited to see you." She was trying to communicate with me, but she couldn't talk. But she was up. Bobby knows this. Bobby Christina was up every single day. That girl was scared to go to sleep. She was up watching TV. Bobby would sometimes come to her room and feed her popsicles and okay. So let's get out of that. Y'all, you got that idea in your head that my niece was in a coma and she was not aware and she was unresponsive. And yes, she was like that, of course, in the beginning, but she came out of that. Bobby Christina was strong. And Dr. Jolly showed them where he could bring her brain back 100%. The doctors had even told us she would be fine after about 6 months. They said it will be a little slow process, but she's doing wonderful. It wasn't until the Houstons came into that hospital after Bobby Christina communicated to her father that she did not want none of them near her bed. But they came in there and they did something to my niece. There's no way I'm going to let somebody tell me that they didn't. They did. Because then there pops up an impersonating nurse. And then Pat was going in the room by herself all the time. And we didn't know this. She only did it when Bobby went out of town. Yes.
Okay, let me just say this. Now, she is absolutely telling the truth. And I think that came out where they had someone there that acted as if they was a nurse, but she actually was not a nurse. But for some reason, that was kind of brushed up under the rug. That was in the media just for a little bit. I looked for that because I remember that one of these national medias kind of did a story on it, and then they just kind of brushed it up under the rug, and it seems like it has been scrubbed off of the internet. Why would they bring somebody into her room and to act as if they was a nurse and taking care of her, and they actually did not have the credentials and was not a nurse? So Leola is telling the absolute truth about that. She is, as a matter of fact, I believe she's telling the truth about the rest of it. Her story has been consistent. If it wasn't Bobby Christina's own father, which is her brother, would say something, right? He has not rebuffed or said anything about his sister when they even asked him. The only thing I've ever heard him say was, "My sister loved Whitney, and she loved Bobby Christina." Hell, if she wasn't telling the truth, Bobby Brown loved his wife and daughter. I think he would say something. But anyways, let me continue on.
So something was done to my niece because she was supposed to come home with us. Bobby Christina was healing. Okay? And Bobby Jr., his case, I'm sorry. My nephew was homeless in California, and he called me. And he said, Auntie Lily, I have nowhere to go. I have a friend, a Facebook friend. And this is not somebody that's going to tell a lie for me. So don't think that that's what's going on, because I didn't even know her then.
Okay, and then she goes on to talk about how, with Bobby's new wife is not any good either. How she's just kind of taking advantage of Bobby Brown, and his son was living with them, and then when Bobby went on tour or something, she put his oldest son out. Then his son ended up dead or something like that. I think it's a travesty because I watched little Bobby, which is the son, on the show too, and he was with Whitney and Bobby a lot, as well as his oldest daughter. So I really hate that, and I do believe her. A lot of people was after Whitney. She had a habit, but sometimes they will feed that habit. It's a whole lot of stuff. Now here is Pat in an interview. Okay. Child, it's just something about her.
Exactly. People that have dealt with her emotions from the day she was born until the day she died, that people that were around her, people that really knew her, and had to deal with everything, really lived what she lived, actually.
And you see that play out in the movie. We see some really intimate scenes. We hear stories about her that we had never heard and known before. I want to ask, I wonder, because you decided to tell such an intimate story, were you concerned at all that this could have been seen as a betrayal? Is this the version of the story Whitney would have wanted out there?
Well, it's, everyone that has a life has a story. It's her story and it's played out. In the documentary, she narrated a lot of it herself. So, yeah, it's just her life and her story as the family would see it and the friends who dealt with her every single day.
One of the stories that you tell in it tells the story of your husband, Gary, speaks in it. They talk about introducing her to drugs when she was just 16 years old. It started really, really young. Was it hard to tell these stories, such a intimate details, some really raw stories about that?
Well, it wasn't my husband Gary, it was my brother-in-law.
Your brother-in-law, sorry,
yes. For him, I guess it was therapeutic to really talk about it. It was like a pressure cooker, opening up, for him to reveal, and just, he was speaking about himself and talking about his sister. But, he just needed to talk. And, after sharing his sister with the world for over 30 years and just having to protect an image, that moment was his. And he just talked, and it kind of was kind of a healing process for him as well.
I heard you all talk about, when I spoke with you and Gary, you talked about the healing, and there's so much of this film that is sort of dark and shocking, but you also talked about tender moments, Whitney having the Bible that her mom gave her.
Okay, let me stop it right there because she got a dark energy on her. Now, like I said, I'm going to talk more about this because I am very interested in this. I'm so happy that Leola has kicked back up and started talking about this. I hope nothing happens to her at this point. I think that, the reason nothing has happened is because her death has been ruled an overdose. Ray J, of course, we all know she was dating Ray J at the time, and he was around her at that hotel. Leola had always said that, the people who did this to her, Pat knew about it, and Ray J was involved some kind of way, she felt like. So, I mean, she's always been very vocal about that. The latest story has not changed. Her brother, Bobby, has not said not one thing about it. And she always said, even when I had talked to her that night, Bobby Christina was getting better. Bobby Christina was getting better. So she's always put that out in the media. You have not heard any of the Houstons say rebuff that. And listen, I looked at that documentary that Pat had Bobby Christina to do right after. Let me see if I could just find a picture. Whitney died. She was still grieving her mother because they were very close. Let's see, Bobby Christina on reality show On Our Own. I think that was the name of it, On Our Own. Bobby Christine was grieving her mama so much it was ridiculous. But it wasn't ridiculous. It was hurtful. Okay, it was extremely hurtful. Um, I want to. Okay, here it is, right here. They exploited that child, and I'm sure she was already on something. But they use that to her advantage, because when people that are abusing are, look at her, you could just tell right here, look at her eyes. They kept her sedated. And she was also on drugs. So, you know, um she looked a little better right there, but right here, and if you could see, and also, she would be shaking, oftentimes when she was filming. It was a hurtful thing for me to see. Of course, I don't know. I don't think Whitney's mother was in total agreement with them doing that reality show right after Whitney died. Pat was money hungry, I believe. She wanted to exploit and see, just like Leola said, how bad off Chrissy was doing, so that she could have control. They could grant her control, her and her husband. She needs to send her husband to the rehab. If you ask me, I'm talking about Gary Houston. Okay, she needs to send him to the rehab too. But of course, I'm sure she wants him to stay up under whatever influence he's up under. Um, because you know, she gets to have more control. Okay. But I'll be talking more about this. I just wanted you all to see this. Okay. This is definitely, I'm happy, like I said, that she's back talking about it, and she's given a lot. She really is. And I'm happy that she is, because I want people to know the truth about, I know Whitney Houston was, I'm not saying that she wasn't on drugs, but I do believe a lot of what Leola is saying as it relates to her death. It was just too cold and dark. The idea you can have an award show with an iconic superstar that everybody supposedly loved in the industry and outside of the industry lay dead, you know, in a hotel room above their heads, and they could party and drink the night away. It was just kind of sick to me. Um, Before I get off of here, if I can, let me see if I can find right quick Clive Davis, how he would well, I may do that well, maybe I should do it now, because if I say that, let's see, Clive Davis. Okay. Um I don't see it, because there was an interview um that he has out here on the internet, standing outside of the award show. Okay. I don't know how old Clive is, but I hear he's very evil. Um so anyways. Um I was looking for that for you all, because I wanted uh you all to see that. I'm still looking for it. Um okay, you guys. Anyways, please like, share, and subscribe. I cannot find it, and I want to find it so bad. Oh my god, I want to find it so bad. Um Let me see.
By now, sadly, you've all learned of the unspeakably tragic news of our beloved Whitney's passing. I don't have to mask my emotions, not in front of this room, full of so many dear friends. I do have a very heavy heart, and I am personally devastated by the loss of someone who has meant so much to me for so many years.
First it was Michael Jackson. Then there was
Okay. Now, when he did the interview before he got up there on the stage, you know, when the cameras was downstairs as they were all going in on the red carpet, he wouldn't frown up, and his voice was not sorrowful like that, but it seems like he went into um um lights, camera, action when he got on the stage. Okay. I think that this is a sad thing, but I want for Leola to keep going. I'm going to support her. I believed her from the years ago, that night that I talked to her. Okay. I believed her. And I believe her now. Okay. So, anyways, you guys, I'm gonna be talking more about this. I'm gonna start doing some more research. Oh my God, it's so much stuff on this, you guys. It's so much. But please like, share, and subscribe. Okay. If you would like to support the channel, you could definitely do that via Cash App. I want you guys to know that I appreciate you so much. This video kind of went on long because, you know, this is my niche right here. I love this, as well as Young Dolph. We're gonna do something on Young Dolph today too. Okay, we'll do a live on him. But anyways, please like, share, and subscribe. Okay, you guys. Talk with you later.